Hi, welcome to this screencast from Progress Software. In this screencast, we'll be looking at how to use Kendo UI Core in ASP.NET MVC Core web applications. My name is Lohit Jian. I work as a technical evangelist here at Progress. Before we start, let's take a look at the problem statement. We want to build an ASP.NET MVC Core web application and use Kendo UI Core UI framework within that MVC application. Without much further ado, let's get started. First, let's try to understand what is Kendo UI Core. I'm pretty sure you might have a question in your mind as to what this new UI framework is all about. So let's take a brief introduction to Kendo UI Core. So here I am at Telerik.com. It's www.telerik.com/kendo-ui/open-source-core. That's the website, or that's the product page for Kendo UI Core. As you can see here, Kendo UI Core is the open source Kendo UI. Kendo UI is a very popular HTML5 based framework that we have here at Telerik. This is the open source version of the Kendo UI, the comprehensive framework that you will need for building modern web and mobile apps, targeting HTML5 and using, of course, JavaScript. The open source package contains 40 plus jQuery based widgets and the core framework features. The open source version is licensed under the permissive Apache v2. That means you can use it for your commercial as well as personal projects. This is suitable for projects not requiring dedicated technical support. Some of the key features, hundreds of scenarios out of the box. Since we give you 40 plus widgets and the core Kendo UI frameworks, well, you're on the way to create HTML5 and JavaScript projects without the worry of the cross-browser compatibility, standard compliance, or the touch device support. Why? Because Kendo UI Core is cross-browser compatible. It is built on the open standards, that's HTML5, the JavaScript, and CSS. And also all the Kendo UI widgets are touch aware, so that means you can run the same page on a desktop browser or on a the tablet browser. It's going to behave the same. We have out of the box around 11 themes which you can use, and if you don't like it, like the inbuilt themes, you're always welcome to build your own theme using the theme builder tool. The whole package is built keeping in mind the performance. It was engineered with performance in mind. So it comes with a templating library that is faster than the jQuery templates. The animations are optimized. We leverage the CSS3 hardware acceleration and also the UI virtualization. Some of the core widgets that we provide as part of the Kendo UI core. Of course, you get all the web frameworks that's there in the Kendo UI. Data source, well, I like the data source object very much. The drag and drop, FX, globalization, MEVM, single page app framework, templates, validator. Apart from that, there are close to 20 web widgets that we provide you, starting from simplest as autocomplete to list view, numeric text box, panel bar, splitter, tab strip, you name it, it's there. Also, the whole mobile framework, the hybrid mobile framework that Kendo UI Mobile supports is available for you. The application object, the forms, the layout, the split view, the touch events, as well as all the mobile widgets, the action sheet, button group, tab strip, you name it, what you need for a hybrid mobile application, it is all there. So with Kendo UI Core, you get the web as well as the mobile widgets along with it. So you can get Kendo UI Core, or if you're interested in advanced controls, you can always go back to the Kendo UI Professional and then try it out. But for now, we're going to go ahead and then see how to use Kendo UI Core. I hope this has given you a brief idea as to what Kendo UI Core has to offer. Next up, we're going to see what is ASP.NET MVC Core. Let's try to quickly understand what is ASP.NET MVC Core. This is the official documentation for ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET MVC Core. The website is docs.asp.net. That's the new documentation website. According to the official documentation, ASP.NET Core, or the ASP.NET MVC Core as we like to call it, is a new open source and cross-platform framework for building modern cloud-based internet connected applications such as web apps, IoT apps, and mobile backends. The ASP.NET Core apps can run on .NET Core, that's the underlying framework, or on the full .NET framework. It was architected to provide an optimized development framework for apps that are deployed to the cloud or run on premise. It consists of modular components with minimal overhead, so you retain flexibility while constructing your application. You can develop and run your ASP.NET Core apps cross-platform on Windows, Macintosh, or Linux. And ASP.NET Core is open source at GitHub, so you can always go back to the GitHub and then take a look at the ASP.NET Core source code. So this whole video is all about you building an ASP.NET MVC Core web application, and then you want to use Kendo UI Core framework inside the ASP.NET Core. So let's get building. Here I have my Visual Studio 2015 Enterprise. I'm going to create a new project now. I've clicked on New Project. Here's the New Project dialog, and notice now that we have a new project template called as .NET Core. On the right hand side, I'm going to select ASP.NET Core Web Application Template, give a project name, maybe Kendo UI Core Integration, and I'm going to say OK. Now it's going to ask me what template that I want to pick up. So is it empty, web API, or web application? For this exercise, I'm going to pick up web application and then click OK. Visual Studio is going to go ahead and then start spinning up my project. And here we have now the ASP.NET MVC Core application being created. As you can see here, it's restoring all my packages now, but my application or my project is created now. Now that we have the project created, let's try to run it and then see what's the output of this project is all about. So I'm clicking on run. It's going to be hosted on IIS Express, and we should get my browser coming up in any moment. The build has succeeded. The debug is starting. And here we have my Firefox getting loaded with localhost port number where the project is running. And here we have the ASP.NET MVC Core web application getting rendered. So as you can see, this is a vanilla MVC template that we have. We have a home route, we have an about route, and then we have a contact route. That's a good start now. So let's get back to Visual Studio. Now I'm going to stop this. In the ASP.NET MVC Core projects, now you will start seeing a different folder which is known as www root folder, and then notice here all the static assets for your web application has been kept here: the CSS, the images, the JavaScript file, the libraries. So the libraries is kind of a pattern that we follow where any external library is put inside a folder called lib, and then you bring in everything here. Also, one other thing about ASP.NET MVC Core project is that any client-side libraries it's recommended that you use Bower, a package manager for JavaScript libraries, and bring in the packages into your application, let the Bower download it, and then keep it inside of a specific folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my solution, and in the Solution Explorer window there is this button called as Show All Files. So I'm going to click on that Show All Files. Now you will see that in the root of the project there is a file called as bower.json. Let me click on that. So this is bower.json, and then what it is doing is it's saying about the dependencies that you have for JavaScript based framework. So for example, in this particular current project, we have a dependency on Bootstrap, jQuery validation hyphen unobtrusive. So as you can see, all the version numbers of those dependencies are also put in, and then this is bower.json for you. The problem statement was to use Kendo UI Core in the ASP.NET MVC Core application. Kendo UI Core being a client-side JavaScript library, it's available on the Bower package. So let me go to the bower.io. That's the website to know all the Bower packages. I'll click on search packages and then come in here, and then I say Kendo UI Core, and notice that we have Kendo UI Core. If I click on Kendo UI Core, you will see how to use that, or it's going to take me to the GitHub. So that's true. So that's how Bower works. So what we can do is we can now go back to our Visual Studio bower.json, put a comma here, and then I say Kendo hyphen UI hyphen core. Notice Visual Studio is able to complete the dependency name, which is Kendo UI core, and then I can say, like, I want a specific version. Now it's trying to go to Power package manager and then trying to see what versions of Kendo UI core are available. And then as you can see here, the latest one that we have is 2016.2.812. That's how Kendo UI core is version. So I'm going to say I need that. Before I click on save, there's one more thing that I want to talk about. If you see here, if you expand the bower.json file, there is this bower rc. That's nothing but the configuration file. What we have said is, if there is any package that will be downloaded by Bower, that needs to be copied into www.root/lib folder. Remember the lib folder that I talked about earlier. So now the moment I go in and then say bower.json save, what will happen is we will see Bower going, and then if you see here, there's a dependency restoring, and then it says Bower, and then we see Kendo UI core not installed. Now it says Kendo UI core 2016.2.812, and it should be available under our lib folders. Oh, it's still restoring, as you can see here. Once it finishes restore, we will see the lib Kendo UI core folder coming under the lib folder. Visual Studio has finished doing the Bower dependency restoring. So now we can see under lib folder we have the Kendo UI core, and Kendo UI core has all the JavaScript styles, whatever is required by the Kendo. Next up, we're going to see how to integrate Kendo into our ASP.NET MVC application. So basically, we would like to use the Kendo's JavaScript files, Kendo's style sheet, and then start working with Kendo. I have opened up the views shared layout file. Basically, in MVC applications, you have a layout file which controls the whole layout of the application, and this is where we normally put all the style sheets and then the scripts files that we require. So in our case, for Kendo UI core, we will need to include couple of style sheets. Since the vanilla template is built upon Bootstrap, what I'm going to do is, Kendo UI has a Bootstrap template, so I'm going to refer the Bootstrap template. So we'll have to say link relationship is equal to style sheet, and then in the href what we're gonna do is tilde, then lib, then Kendo UI core, then styles, and we have kendo.common bootstrap.core.min.css. So that's what we need, and then that's the common styles. And then specifically for the widgets, what we will need to do is we'll need to say lib Kendo UI core styles. Instead of kendo.common.bootstrap.core.min.css, we're going to say kendo.bootstrap.min.css. So these are the two files that we need. As you can see, in MVC core you have these ASP.NET tag builders, as we call it. So there's an environment tag. If you are in a development environment, this is what the script file will be. And for this demo, I'm going to just copy paste the same two link tags for staging and production too. Now the biggest thing, we need to make sure that we get the Kendo JavaScript versions. Kendo depends on jQuery. By default, the vanilla template has already put the jQuery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say script src is equal to tilde lib Kendo UI core, then JS, then you just have to say kendo.ui.core.min.js. That's the only file that we need for Kendo to work. So then I'm going to come in here to production, and then I will say this. So now what we have done is we have finished basically referring the Kendo style sheets and then Kendo JavaScript files. So I will head back to the views home index.cshtml just to make sure that we have everything working correctly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way, and maybe after, yeah, so here I will have one more row, just to make sure that we have Kendo working. So what I'm going to do is I will say, let's say we're gonna get in a date picker. So I'll say input type is equal to text, Then I will say id is equal to kDate picker, and I'm just gonna close this guy for now. Then I will go back all the way to the bottom of this particular page, control KD to make sure all the things are lined up correctly. Then I will need to bring in scripts, sorry, section, and the section name is known as scripts, and then we will have to open up a script tag, and then I'm going to say document dot ready, and I'm going to do a function here, and then of course the jQuery would have already been loaded, so we can come back here and then say like, you know what, I need you to grab an element which is called kDate picker. So let me make sure that's the name I gave. So where is it? So it's in the middle somewhere over here. Yeah, kDate picker. I'm going to copy that, come back all the way down, paste it, and then all I need to do is I just need to say Kendo date picker. That's all we need to do in order to instantiate a Kendo control. So next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on run and then let the web page come up, and we're going to see how this date picker is going to look like. I have clicked run on the Visual Studio, and here is my Firefox browser coming up, and then it's trying to load the web application at localhost so on support. And once we have the page completely loaded, notice here this is the input type is equal to text, whatever text box we have put, but now this has been converted into a Kendo date picker. Let me go back quickly, and then let me put a break so that we can see it completely. So let me refresh, and there we go. So we have the um, date picker here. I can click on it and notice here how neatly this date picker is. So I can do this, or I can go back and then I can say something like value is equal to new date of. So that means I'm setting the value to be the current date. So let's see what happens when I refresh the page, and there we go. Without me setting anything, I get the this particular date, the current date set up inside the value. I click on it, it shows me the current date. I can change any other date and all the stuff. Next, what we're going to do is, this is a very simple widget, but what we're going to do is we're going to convert this three or the four columns that we are seeing here into a tab strip. So we have a Kendo UI tab strip, so we will try to convert this four column things that we see here into a Kendo UI tab. I'm back inside my Visual Studio. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a div with, let's say, a class row, and we're going to do a div with call lg12 so that I have a 12 column thing. Then again I'm going to create a div, and then maybe I'm going to say its ID is k tab strip. So this will be the placeholder. Then all we need to do is we just need to create an unordered list, and we create a li, and in the li we just say class k state active, so not el. And here the way Kendo tab strip works is, notice here previously there was an h2, that was the heading, and then there was this ul coming up, right? So what I need to do is in the li I just need to place these the headings. So I'm going to copy that. So similarly I need three more, so I'm going to just place three more, and this is how to. So I'm going to cut that and then come back to the second one, paste it. Then we have the third one, which is the overview, cut that and come back to the third, paste it. Then we have the fourth one, which is run and deploy, copy that, come back here and then paste it. So now once we have done that, all we need to do is we need to start pasting the content as div. So I'm going to get the first content, which is this particular thing, and then again I need one more div now. I'll get the second content. So the second content is here. I'll paste it inside. Then I'm gonna create one more div, get the third content, which is this guy, cut it, paste it inside, then have one more div now, and we will paste the last content here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just clear off this row that we have here. We don't need it anymore. Now all that is left for me to do is get hold of this particular ID. I'm gonna copy that ID, come back to this one, to the script that we had, and then we will gonna do the same stuff. So I'll say get me the element where it is this, and then convert this into Kendo tab strip. Well, that's all you need to do. So notice here I'm still in the run state, so I'm gonna bring up this page. I'm gonna refresh this page now, and there we go. So we have a slight problem. So what I'm gonna do is in Kendo tab strip, the H2 won't work for the so I'm gonna just remove all the H2s. We don't need that. Kendo is gonna make sure that it's gonna get everything, and then there's a copy paste mistake that I did, and that is we have put active state for all the tabs, so that's not how it's gonna work. So initially when the screen loads, I want the first one to be active, so that's what I did just now. So I'm gonna go and then refresh it again, and we have a very nice looking tab strip coming up. Of course, let me put a break here just for the sake of the demo so that we get a little spacing going on correctly. Okay, the spacing is not yet happening, so but you get the idea. So now what I did was I converted whatever you had into a Kendo UI tab strip. So like this, we have close to 20 to 25 widgets available, list view, tab strip, panel bar, you name it, so everything is there. So this was a very short video to let you know how you can use Kendo UI Core, which is the open source version of Kendo UI, the HTML5 based UI framework, and how to integrate that with ASP.NET MVC Core. I hope you like this screencast, and let us know if you have any feedback.